everybody, Jason Burmis here, and a lot of people have been all over me because I haven't done enough to expose the Clinton connection with Jeffrey Epstein, despite the fact that I've been talking about it for almost a decade. However, the Daily Beast has done just an unbelievable job. And you know what, again, I don't have to agree with everything the Daily Beast says or even the author of this article says, but they have done a tremendous job now going into the Clinton archives, the library there, and proving beyond a reasonable doubt Bill Clinton has lied about his relationship to Jeffrey Epstein. They can be connected as early as the early 90s now, but they also make connections with associates that could date back to Mena, Arkansas, and possibly the 80s. And remember, we've talked about how during the 80s, he has this passport with an alias they find that has a Saudi Arabian address, stamps in Saudi Arabia, the United Kingdom, France, Spain, right? And it was Austrian in origin, apparently. These are the reports. We're just going by them. And then you have Vicky Ward saying that Acosta was told he was intelligence, and he said this to the Trump transition team, and that's why he got a sweetheart deal. She then goes on to talk about Adnan Khashoggi and his relationship to him, who is a notorious arms dealer during the Iran-Contra network. And again, Mena, Arkansas is brought up in this article. On top of that, there are new Rothschild connections. It becomes clearer and clearer and clearer that at least on the globalist end of Jeffrey Epstein, he was absolutely an agent of the Rothschilds. In fact, again, we have the documents, folks. The actual documents are here from the Clinton Library. And they show, again, that, who is it? Evelyn de Rothschild's husband, Forrester de Rothschild, actually, I think in 1995, writes a letter to Clinton because he wants to have him speak to Jeffrey Epstein about global currency issues. Now, on top of all of that in this article, this one's going to be a long one. This article was excellent and very well sourced. We already knew that Chelsea Clinton had some kind of a relationship with the main madam for Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, right? She was at the wedding. Everybody's seen the photo. I've covered it here. Again, I guess I just haven't done enough to expose the Clintons, but we're going to continue to right now. So with that being said, now we know that they actually went on vacation together, according to this article, and there's records that they also were in kind of business together through the Clinton Global Initiative. So all sorts of shades of Clinton. I know I haven't mentioned Hillary, but Hillary's really not focused on in this article in particular. I will mention that, obviously, the Clinton Foundation, donations throughout, his administration, there's a relationship there. But I will mention that Erica Prince has accused her of going to the actual island at least 6 times. So let's dig into this because it's not just about the 90s. It's about a continued relationship after he was outed as what he was. Everybody wants to portray, oh, I had no idea. I didn't know what he was doing. Okay. Sure you didn't, Bill. And great graphic, great coverage by these guys. Thank you so much, Daily Beast, for this, because this, Susie Parker, Emily Sugarman, let me tell you, great job. Great. This is an unbelievable piece. All right, so first of all, they talk about in 2002 that he went to Clinton's Harlem office. So for those that don't know, during that gentrification period in New York City, in that area, one of the main ways that was done was Clinton came in there post-presidency and set up his office. Thank you so much, Port Film Co-op. Quisling, Gizling. I appreciate that, my friend. So we have 4 flights on the billionaire's private jet and a single trip to his Harlem office and 1 brief visit to his New York apartment, all with staff and security detail. Again, this is in 2002, okay? But this investigation has shown ties all the way back to 1993. And by the way, they connect him with a lawyer later on who's now deceased, but basically, a money man for the Clintons and for Jeffrey Epstein. And a guy that not only was extremely corrupt, but got caught on his corruption, and guess what? Clinton took care of that sentence for him. But we'll get there. Again, this is a pretty nutty articles. So again, you'll look at this. 2 years later, businesswoman Lynn Forrester de Rothschild wrote a personal letter to Clinton thanking him for their talk about the financier. All right? And by the way, Lynn Forrester de Rothschild and her husband, Forrester de Rothschild, and I think she was named, it says Evelyn, I don't want to mispronounce her name, but they spent the first night of their honeymoon in the White House, in the Lincoln bedroom. That's what power can build you. And this is Mark Middleton. That's the person I was talking about who has the connections to Mena, Arkansas. I can't recommend this article enough. Now, they also talk about hobnobbing at other parties and fundraisers. Here you'll see that. People like Epstein are there, Don Johnson, Jimmy Buffett, and this is nearby to his Palm Beach mansion. Again, 1995. Remember, we've connected Epstein to the Trilateral Commission, the Rockefeller-formed organization that kind of brought globalism in with Japan and their leadership. So again, a lot of global financing around this guy as well. We can't just say that this is, a honey trap and all about blackmail. Because from all accounts, everybody that I see that's a witness that worked with this guy, the guy was, he's not just a front man. Apparently he was an economic genius. So let's continue down here. And, they talk about Epstein and Clinton in 2002, et cetera, stuff we've seen many, many times over. But here is where we start getting the Chelsea Clinton ties, okay, with Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, we've seen the picture at her wedding, right? And now we find out that she vacationed with Chelsea in 2009, and here it is, financially up until 2013 with the Global Clinton Initiative. All this is well past knowing by all of the public who these people are, okay? 2013, give me a break. At the wedding in 2010, everybody knows. These excuses that they use, this spin, the lie. Hey, guys, you can shine light on darkness, and what they did is they went to the Clinton Library and dug up a ton of documents, all right? So I want to get to that first one that really shows here that for White House donors on September 29th, 1993, Epstein and Maxwell are absolutely on the list. Absolutely on the list. So now we're talking about a very long relationship with this guy. And if you look at Middleton, there's the possibility this doesn't just start in the 90s, but goes all the way back into the 80s in Mena, Arkansas. And why would that be? It's interesting, right? Right? Let's see. And of course, this is it. The donation, Meyer wrote, would assist in funding the cost of refurbishing the Oval Office in the West Wing and certain areas of the executive residence. I mean, $10,000 doesn't seem like much, and it's not much there. But this is where you see the connection from that to this guy, Paul Prosperi, who ends up being a college friend of Bill Clinton's who visited Epstein frequently when the financier was jailed in 2008. Visitor logs show Prosperi, a Florida-based attorney, visited Epstein at least 20 times during the 13 months he spent in Palm Beach. Now think of that. A college friend of Clinton who later gets he gets a pardon, I believe. We'll get there. But he's visiting Epstein 20 plus times. So now we're not even talking about just a lawyer. We're talking about a college friend of Billy the Kid Clinton. All right? And Prosperi also attended the 1995 Perelman fundraiser where both Epstein and Clinton were present. All right? So again, the documentation's right here. Here's Mr. Jeffrey Epstein, et cetera, et cetera. It's all right there. Great job on this article. Okay? So let's see. Hillary gets a little shade here, but again, that's through Prosperi and checks to the associations, et cetera. Let's see. Here are the White House contacts I was talking about with Mark Middleton. Okay, as you can see. And again, they could go back all the way to the 80s. You need to really look at this. He refused to incriminate himself and refused to testify. Here it is right here. You know, these guys are all attorneys. They're all lawyers. They're professional liars. They know what to do. Let's see. Several other figures in the scandal were later convicted of campaign finance violations, but he just refused to testify, invoking his right against self-incrimination. Let's see. And here it is right here. So Lynn Forrester, who becomes Lynn Forrester to Rothschild. This is where she actually writes a letter to Bill Clinton, basically having him talk about, where is it? It's global currency stabilization. Yeah, currency stabilization. Here's the actual document. Again, they have the documents, folks. So Stephanopoulos is also in here. Here's Epstein and the currency stabilization. And then Stephanopoulos, who's really, one of these guys who's been with the Clintons for a very long time and a media figure as well, also got a copy of this memo. So this is back in 1995. Again, trilateral guy at that point, CFR guy, connections to Larry Summers, and many of these people. And as I was saying before, these, the Rothschilds were such big contributors that they also spent the first night of their honeymoon in the Lincoln bedroom by invitation of the Clintons. So there it is. I mean, this is a well done article. I think that, and you know what? I'll even say this. This also puts Dershowitz saying that in '96 he was introduced to Jeffrey Epstein, or at least told about him and Ghislaine and Maxwell by Lord Rothschild. Okay. And remember, he says he doesn't meet him until much later. We have that testimony from Bradley Edwards in another suit. So those things don't jive with one another. Obviously, there he says it's the Lady Rothschild, not Lord Rothschild. But Rothschild coming up a lot more in these documents as they're being unearthed. We're going to be doing even more Epstein today. We're going to be talking more and more about the account on, whether he was beaten up, whether he staged an attack, or whether he really did try to kill himself. Radar Online is definitely selling that narrative. So that is a video that's going to be coming up. We're doing 3, 4, 5, 6, sometimes 7 videos a day. If you're not subscribed to the Burmese Brigade, now's the time to do it. Ring that bell for notifications. Share this on social media. Put it out on Reddit, everywhere you can, your blogs, emails, etc., etc. I really do appreciate sharing it. We're almost at 27,000 subscribers. It's around the corner, and I'm able to do this through you guys. I don't bullshit. I'm not going to give you a Patreon where we're going to have exclusive Skype sessions, etc., etc. I'm not a subscribe star. I don't know what to tell you. I love doing this. I tell the truth. It's not about left or right. It's always been about right and wrong to me. That's why we just did that extensive Clinton piece. And later on, we're probably going to have a piece that focuses on Trump's falling out with Epstein and how there are multiple narratives of that coming out. Because I'm interested in the truth, and you should be too. So $5, $10, $15 if you can give. This is how I'm keeping it going. It's a little over a week old, and we're doing very, very well. So let's keep it going, guys. I'll be back later today. I will see you all on the flip. Thank you for joining me.